Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is a happy Sabbath to all those who are Sabbath keepers in the world. Happy Sabbath. Thank you for tuning in to our show. Ladies and gentlemen, when William Samoei Ruto ascended to power, he swiftly crafted a team of advisors that were going to help him achieve his economic agenda, the bottom-up economy that he had promised the nation. And he crafted this team in fivefold. There is a team that was supposed to advise him on matters economy, led by Ndi, who is the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, followed very closely by the recently appointed Henry Rotich after his case collapsed, and he was quickly appointed to head in the office of the president, fiscal affairs and budget policy. He's also part of that team. The Ruto had Monica Juma, who was a former member of the Ruto's cabinet, advising him on matters security, national security. Then we had another team advising him on matters climate change. You know how serious William Ruto has taken this, and he's really made him a darling of the West. And there was another team that was to advise him, an office that was advising on matters gender and women affairs. Even in Uhuru's regime, Uhuru had a team who was also advising him. But this team that Ruto has is gobbling a lot of money, and it has become a burden to taxpayers. And that is what I want us to look at, because when you look at both Business Daily and Nation, it reads taxpayers to foot 1.1 billion Kenya shillings for President Ruto's top advisors. And when you look at them, we have Henry Rotich, we have Monica Juma, Ndi, and I think this is the other person. I don't know that. And it says very quickly that the cost of maintaining courtier of President William Ruto's advisors will cross the 1 billion mark, underlining the burden of hiring consultants in a government. Budget documents tabled in Parliament show that the 6 advisory units will spend 1.14 billion Kenya shillings in the year starting July, up from 977 million in the current financial year. So the budget that they were allocated in the financial year that is running currently was 977 million. Now in the financial year that will begin in July, it has been increased to 1.1 billion Kenya shillings. It's closing the 1 billion. Now it continues to say the high-profile advisors, including Dr. David Ndi, Mr. Henry Rotich, and Dr. Monica Juma, will splurge the bulk of the hundreds of millions on salaries, travel, and entertainment. And I want you to get that. The 1.1 billion Kenya shillings that we're talking about is going to the salaries, traveling allowances, and entertainment allowances to the offices that we've mentioned. This emerges in an era where the state is raising to cut unnecessary expenditure, such as trips abroad by officials and hospitality spending, to rein in a gaping fiscal deficit. This is exactly what I want us to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. And even as we continue on this, allow me to request you to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching for the first time, click the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you. Thank you very much to those who support our channel. You can help us further by sharing our videos. And on this one, please give us a thumbs up. I want to give you just what has been an overview of how much this money is going to be spent, and you will understand what I mean. And we are beginning with the office of Dr. Ndi. We're being informed, for example, that in Dr. Ndi's office, The office has been allocated a further 194 million Kenya shillings for the year starting July, and that they will spend 88 million on travel. 88 million Kenya shillings as traveling allowances. They will spend 23 million on entertainment. I want you to get that. 23, a whooping 23 million on entertainment, and 9.4 million Kenya shillings on communication items like mobile phones and airtime. Get that. And then we are going to look at Dr. Henry Rotich, or Mr. Henry Rotich. His office has been allocated 100 million Kenya shillings, with traveling consuming 41 million Kenya shillings. Henry Rotich is the head of fiscal affairs and budget policy. And then there's another person here called Augustine Cheriot, who is the senior advisor and head of economic transformation secretariat. And we are told he largely operates in behind the curtains. His office has the largest allocation of 239 million Kenya shillings, with traveling and entertainment consuming 107 million shillings and 35 million shillings respectively. You can imagine that. Then let's finish with Dr. Monica Juma. Monica Juma, who is advising William Ruto on matters national security. His or her office has been given 109 million Kenya shillings. The Office of Women Rights Advisors, I told you, of Harriet Chigai, is allocated 129 million Kenya shillings. Now, the funniest part of it is that William Ruto has championed herself as a person who is advocating for climate change. And in the office of the office that is advising Ruto on climate change has only been allocated 55 million Kenya shillings. That is just an overview of how this money is going to be spent. But cumulatively, 1.14 billion Kenya shillings that these advisors are going to take home. Now, why do we have a problem with this? Because it is not bad to have people who are advising you, ladies and gentlemen. But Kenyans are crying foul and they're saying this is unnecessary. And I want us to look at reasons why this does not augur well with many Kenyans. Number one, William Ruto is the man who has got a sweet tongue. He knows what to tell you when. He has always maintained that he wants to cut down on cost, unnecessary traveling abroad and all this. Yet the same government that is telling us that he wants to cut down on cost is spending from 977 million shillings to 1.14 billion Kenya shillings to people whom we call economic advisors. It is not bad to have them, but why can't we at least cut down on that, on their budget? Recently, William Ruto was telling us that we have to live within our means. I thought that living within our means would also mean that even if you have people who are advising on matters economy, security, climate change, gender and women policy, and all this, then you also ensure that the money that they take home is also commensurate to what you call within our budget. Because these people have got security, fuel guzzlers, secretariat, and a lot of privileges. Airtime alone and entertainment, 9.4 million Kenya shillings. This is unacceptable if you ask me. William Ruto must ensure that whatever he speaks is the same thing that he acts. You cannot be preaching water and you drink wine. It's unacceptable. Number two, when William Ruto was campaigning in 2022, he promised the hustlers that he was going to form a government that was going to be friendly, pocket friendly to them. In fact, he took that moment during the campaigns, together with people like Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wah, and they were telling us that Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president, Raila Amolo Odinga, were responsible for the economic mess, and they continue to say that they inherited a dilapidated economy that they continue to say that they want to fix. Surely, if you ask me, this is not a government of the hustlers, because if you look at the appointments that they are doing, the way the money is being lost, the people who we also pay to check the government, like the controller of budget and the auditor general's office, continue to assert that there's a lot of wastage in the government. We look at the money that we want to spend, and we began spending on Statehouse renovation, then you realize that this is not a government of the hustlers. There's a lot of wastage. David himself once told us that there's a lot of wastage. So this is not the kind of government that can call itself a government of the hustlers. And now we realize that actually Uhuru was better, if you ask me. The other thing that comes to question is, during Kibaki and Uhuru era, I know there were advisors too, but they were placed in the offices of maybe office of the finance minister, or the office of the planning, so that they advise, but they don't take a lot of money like we see today. And then compare how Kibaki, the former president, Honorable Mwai Kibaki, ran his government without all these influential and powerful advisors, and you compare it to William Ruto's government. And I know you are going to tell me that we give William Ruto a term of 5 years, but we can see the signs and symptoms whether this government is on the right trajectory. Kibaki did not have all these powerful advisors, but of course he had people who used to advise on economic matters. I know he was an economist, but even as an economist, you can't run a government on your own. He had a team, but not all this much, because 1.5 billion, surely. That is just too much if you ask me. I don't know what you think, but to me, and many Kenyans think that this is too much. This is a government of the hustlers. Kibaki and Uhuru did not have a team that was gobbling this much. Number 4, yes, we have a team. They are advising us on matters of security. They are advising on matters economy. But what is the result? For example, let's begin with the security. People are dying. Bandits are killing Kenyans. When you think of it, and I will not fail to mention that the former CDF General Francis Ogola died because he went to inspect classrooms that were being reconstructed in an area that bandits had raided, and people were no longer going to school. Teachers had been killed. Another Form 3 student was raped. So Ruto ordered both a joint operation between the Kenya police and military to help in building the classroom. So General Gula went there to inspect, and that's how he met his death. Matters security. It was because of just bandits, not even external aggression, just Kenyans living within us, killing our fellow Kenyans. We cannot do that. So, and we give a lot of money to Monica Juma's office. Why? The result. We look at the economy today. Number 1, David is very arrogant. He spends a lot of time answering people on Twitter. The only thing that they keep on yapping about is that the price of bread and unga has gone down. According to them, that is the only measure of a growing economy. And yes, we agree that maybe because of the hamper harvest, maybe it has reduced. But is that the only thing? When you reduce the cost of unga, maybe, and then you increase taxes, you force people to pay housing levy, and the other time those who voted for Ruto were concerned about avocado levies, then what did you add me in the left pocket and you take it from the right pocket? You reduce the price of bread by maybe 5 shillings or 2 shillings, or price of unga by 10 shillings, and then you increase taxes. And when you look at all the levies in different quarters, it adds to more than even 1,000. So you don't talk about what you have increased, you're only talking about the reduction. So the result of the advisory board, these are the advisors that are being given a lot of money, is not very positive at all. And that's why we cry for that this money is just too much. Recently, we had doctor strike that was dealt with just recently, and they maintained that interns cannot be given a lot of money. The doctors went on strike for about 58 days, if I'm not wrong. During that moment, we had people who died, people who just got maimed, families that suffered because there was no money to give doctors. Yet the economic and economic climate, gender and security advisors are given this much. Is it commensurate to what they're doing compared to what doctors are doing? Do we feel them? Yes, we feel them, but very negatively. You advise William Ruto on matters security, bandits are killing us. You advise Ruto on matters economy, you add more taxes. So what is the need? Number 3, we have a lot of floods. We don't have enough equipment to evacuate our people. We don't have enough money because even the one that was the disaster management has been eaten up. And then you have a lot of money to give these people. And by the way, as a president, he needs people to advise him. He cannot run an economy by himself. But why spend so much? Maybe the last question. Does he even listen to them? Because there is a general concern that William Ruto listens to only William Ruto. People have complained that he's micromanaging them. The Attorney General once told us that his advice is not being sought, and when it is sought, even if he gives it, it is not being followed. And so, the begging question, why pay these people all this much when you tell us to live within our means? Why? Is this our means? And that is my take, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe if you're watching for the first time.